think we can admit in.
Hello, good morning. Welcome. Welcome, everyone.
Hello. Welcome, colleagues.
Well, welcome, Paulo. We're just giving some of the participants a couple of minutes to come in as they move from the lobby. Thanks for joining today. Hi, Paulo.
Good
Welcome.
morning, Fatima and Brittany.
Hi,
Good.
Arthur. How are you?
Very well.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to see you, Arthur. It's been a while. Welcome, welcome.
Not that long.
Not that long. Hi, everyone. Good morning. We're giving just a couple more minutes
Yeah,
for
sure.
participants to come in.
Mhm.
But bear with us while we'll get started very shortly.
Mhm.
Have a few more coming in. Hi, welcome, colleagues. Welcome, colleagues from the Bahamas. So you have Trinidad, St. Lucia, Bahamas. We have some familiar folks in the chat. I have also put the agenda, the link to the agenda in the chat.
The continuation of these kind of interministerial arrangements are very necessary. So therefore,
Some colleagues. Okay. I think we have a few people still joining, and we have quite a few in the room. So thanks. Thank you, everyone, for joining this morning at the Anglophone Caribbean's annual network meeting. Today we'll be talking about plans for 2024 and taking a preview of the transparency activities in the region, and also taking a look at the capacity assessment for transparency in the Anglophone Caribbean region. Welcome, everyone. I will I would like to introduce our session this morning by introducing Ms. Fatima Zadakaibi. She is the CIBIT GSP Global Coordinator, and I'd like to welcome her to give us all some opening remarks. Fatima, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brittany, and good morning, colleagues in the Caribbean. And we have some colleagues from Copenhagen, so good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to see all of you today, especially some many familiar faces. So it's a great opportunity. As Brittany mentioned, I'm the global coordinator of the CIBIT Global Support Program. It is, as most of you know, a global transparency project funded by GEF, implemented by UNEP, and executed by the UNEP Copenhagen Climate Center. So the program aims at supporting countries in their transparency efforts, particularly for the transition to the new ETF and the BTR. I will provide later on more details about the project. It is especially good to reconnect with you here today because we had, as you know, to scale down our activities in the network in the past months because of unforeseen circumstances. However, we are now in full steam and ready to be engaged with you and to provide much needed support in the network. So, dear colleagues, 2024 and 2025 represents pivotal years for the global climate transparency and the global climate action. So countries are required to submit their first BTR under the enhanced transparency framework of the Paris Agreement no later than 31st December 2024. At the same time, countries need to prepare their next and more ambitious NDCs to be submitted prior, at least 9 to 12 months prior to the next COP, which will take place in November 2025 in Brazil. Not the next COP, but the COP after this one. So countries should submit their new NDCs latest by February 2025, therefore only 2 months past the BTR deadline. With almost similar timelines for countries' preparation and submission of the BTR and the second NDC, there is strong merit in exploring how these two different but strongly related processes can inform each other's and how effective synergies can be created, reaping the largest benefits for both countries and the global climate community. Through the project, we aim at supporting the Anglophone Caribbean with the two processes, with the focus, of course, on transparency. So the network countries need a lot of capacity, as we will see from the capacity needs assessments that Brittany will be presenting later. We have also noticed that a large number of countries in the network have not yet accessed GEF funding. Therefore, we would like also to reiterate our readiness to support you with your transparency efforts. Though SIDS have discretion in submitting their BTR, participation in these global efforts will send, of course, a strong message on the role and importance of SIDS in the intergovernmental processes and the global fight against climate change. So I look forward to discussing with you today your challenges, priorities, and how we can best support you from our side. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here with us today. Back to you, Brittany.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Fatima Zada, for opening for us and reminding all of us of our reporting requirements this year and the new and enhanced means that all countries, all developing countries, and all parties to the Paris Agreement will need to work towards submitting their BTR this year, by the end of this year. I know that we've had some discussions within the region, and of course, this region is a region of small island developing states. So there are some specific flexibilities involved, but in any case, we have ambitious, shoes to fill, and this is a region marked by ambition and marked by leadership, especially developing the Paris Agreement. So I would like to hand it back over to you, Fatima Zara, if you don't mind giving us a little bit more details into the CIBIT Global Support Program project. What are some of the key objectives and expectations of the project on a whole? Some countries, and we have seen some of this information before, but for those who are less familiar, yeah, we'd like to remind you of what we have to provide.
Mhm. Thank you again, Brittany. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So good. At the same time, if you could please reshare the agenda. There are some people asking for it in the chat. So yeah, colleagues, I would like to give you a brief overview of the CIBIT Global Support Program, even though some of you are familiar with it, but we have managed to do quite some activities in the meantime since we have spoke latest. So, but just as a background, this is a project, as I mentioned, that's funded by Jeff, implemented by UNEP, and executed by the UNEP Copenhagen Climate Center. And the project duration is 4 years, so we will be ending in 2026. However, the good news is that we are already discussing a new phase of the project. So we aim at having continuous support for countries in their transparency efforts without any gap. So the main aim of the project is to support countries in the transition to the BTRs, and also with the submission of the last NCs and the last BURs under the convention. Also to provide the global transparency community with the one-stop shop for transparency, and that we have done through the climate transparency platform that we have developed under the project. And also one of the objectives is to help countries with mainstreaming gender considerations in climate transparency. So we are working through various modalities, mainly providing regional, putting in place regional and linguistic transparency networks. So we have 10 networks currently all operational that cover all developing countries. So it's 10 networks basically, and you can have a little bit more details about that in the platform, among which of course we have the Anglophone Caribbean. And so through these networks, we provide direct support to countries in prioritized area. And that's through basically in-country activities, including trainings in various areas of transparency, but also like hands-on support and technical assistance. We also do regional trainings or network trainings and global meetings. We have also an activity relating to the enhancement of transparency reports before submission to UNFCCC. So to this end, we provide a quality review of NCs, BURs, and national inventory reports as well, with a view to enhance their quality before the submission. We have also, we provide some knowledge products. I will get into that in details later. And of course, we have the gender support and the platform. So if you have not been in the platform yet, I invite you to have a look at that. So as I mentioned, we have 10 networks that are now fully operational. We have 2 networks that we are implementing in collaboration with our colleagues in UNDP. And currently we have 1 network for which we are looking for a new coordinator. And here you can see all our coordinators for the different networks. You can see here our friend Brittany. So our approach basically to the work in the network was, so we started the process with asking for nominations of focal points for the project, so as to have a dedicated person that we communicate with. And then we carried a capacity need assessment through a survey and bilateral talks with the countries. For the Caribbean, we had to do this process more or less twice. So there was the initial capacity need assessments, and then when Brittany became the coordinator again, she had tried to update the capacity need assessment, and she will be presenting that to you later. So we have basically now, just for your information, we have capacity need assessments in all of the networks, and based on that, we have made also some flyers that summarize the capacities in the various networks. It's quite an interesting read if you want to kind of compare a little bit the situation in the various networks, but you will see that the situation is more or less similar, and the challenges are quite similar in all networks, independently on whether countries are big or small. There are some challenges that are very similar. So we have, based on these capacity need assessments and bilateral talks with countries, developed a network work plan. So for most networks now, we are at the second work plan, yearly work plan, and then we have launched the networks. So for the Caribbean, we had an initial launch last year, early last year, and now we are hoping to revive the network again. And then based on the priorities identified with the countries in the work plan, we start with the provision of support. So just to mention that you can ask for support at any stage. So though we have a work plan, but if there is something urgent that come up during the year, we are flexible, and with discussion with you, we should be able to provide the support that is urgently needed. So until now, throughout the project, throughout the networks, we managed to organize over 50 webinars and virtual workshops in the various transparency networks. Mainly the webinars were about exchange of experience. So there were thematic webinars. And the exchange of experience was based on the interests of countries, and also what countries identified as areas that they would like to share or would like to hear about. So we will also try to do some cross-network webinars, but currently most of the experience sharing webinars are mainly network based. So you can find all information with regard to this also in the platform. We have also done over 50 in-country support globally, and the main activities that were requested from countries and prioritized were, for instance, the BTR roadmap developments, definition of NDC indicators, IPCC guidelines, modeling tools, trainings on the ETF provisions, and also we had many countries asking for South-South exchange, and we were able to provide also and facilitate these peer exchange. Then when it comes to regional activities or at the network level activities, we organized in the last year and a half 18 in-person trainings. So last year, for instance, we focused on NDC tracking, and that's for instance, the training that the Anglophone Caribbean has benefited from. So it took place in Panama in October last year. And this year we will be focusing on inventory. So, and we will be organizing a training for you in Colombia in July this year. So in conjunction with our colleagues in the Spanish-speaking Latin America and the Caribbean. So here it's just a few pictures to illustrate the trainings. I think we can see the one in Panama. Do I have here the one in Panama? I think not. Sorry for that. So we will not be able to see yourselves here today, unfortunately. Then another of the activities that I have mentioned before that we do is the quality review of transparency reports. As you can see here, now we have done 37 quality reviews of BURs, NDCs, and inventory reports. And most of the countries that request this service are mainly LDCs and SIDS. And this is an activity that is quite appreciated by the countries and help with the enhancing the quality before submission to UNFCCC. So here we have just put some of the main gaps that have been identified in the review process. But for the sake of time, I will not go really into that in details. The other main medium of providing support and keeping the knowledge and creating communities of practice for transparency is the climate transparency platform. So here I invite you, if you have not seen it again, to have a look at it. You have the QR code here. And basically in this platform, you can find all information related to transparency. So we have a global overview of transparency where you can find all, for instance, all CBIT projects, enabling activities projects, and also some other projects that other agencies are working on. You can have also, you can see profiles of various agencies working in the transparency landscape. We have also information about various events, also knowledge center, and a space for peer learning and communities of practice. So as I mentioned here, just to show you, like we have also a page for agency coordination, and the aim of that is to enhance coordination between agencies and avoid duplication in providing support to countries. So we have also, as I mentioned, communities of practice. So here, the idea is to create more of a community of transparency practitioners, where ideas and various topics can be discussed, but also lessons learned and challenges, solutions to challenges that each one might face, and adequate solutions to that. Then we have spaces for each of the networks, so it can be easy for you actually to get directly to the information that relates to your own network. So please also have a look at that. The other, as I mentioned, some of the objectives of the project is to mainstream the gender in national reporting. In this activity, we have been a bit delayed, so we are restarting again soon, and hopefully we will have an update of the gender toolkit that was developed under the previous project towards in the second half of this year. We are currently also working on various guidance and knowledge products. So we are working on a guidance on filling the BTR tables. So for NDC tracking, so the CRTs, the CTF tables, and also we are working on guidance on adaptation reporting. But also we have produced a national inventory template that is currently under review, and we hope to publish it soon. We are also revising the self-assessment tool from the previous CBIT platform, and there is a multitude of best practice briefs that were produced in all networks that provide provide some good examples of practices in various countries. So we have now 10 best practice examples that are available also in the platform. So throughout the project, collaboration is key to be able to achieve our objectives. So we have been collaborating with various support providers such as the UNDP Climate Promise, the UNFCCC, FAO, PATPA, IGES, and so on. So we are collaborating with various organizations with the aim of putting our efforts together and not duplicate, but also making the best of it, hopefully. And here I just wanted to show you the team in Copenhagen. So we are here for you. Please do not hesitate to contact us if you need any kind of support. And we look forward to some discussions today based on the capacity need assessment that Brittany will be presenting, but also based on the work plan that was elaborated based on discussions with you. Brittany, I will stop here. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatima Zada, for giving an introduction to the CIBIT GSP project and the support available to all of the different 10 networks and including the Anglophone Caribbean network. I would like to give a little bit of time if anyone in the room has any questions on any specific support available, or any questions or comments on Fatima Zada's presentation. There will also be time for discussions after the presentation of the capacity assessment and the actual review of the work plan for this network. So there will be opportunity at each of those intervals, but I'll pause for just a moment if anyone has any questions at this juncture. You're welcome to raise hands or to chat. Okay, I see Arthur, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Brittany, and thank you, Fatima, for that presentation. I just have one question. I mean, I noticed that you have the BTR tables in for NDC, that's in development, and adaptation reporting in development. Do you have a time frame when that is expected to be completed?
Yes, we are hoping to be able to publish the documents before the end of May.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for your question, Arthur. Much appreciated. Anyone else? Anyone else has any questions on the support or project introduction? Okay. If not, then you hold your questions and discussions then for the following segments, which will be focused directly on the outputs and the work plan within this region and that involves your specific countries. So I'd like to thank you again, Fatima, for giving the introduction. And I just want to remind everyone that yes, support is available by the different modalities that were mentioned this morning, and we're flexible, especially this year as you're preparing your BTRs. So I will move to the next item on the agenda, which is looking at the capacity needs assessment on transparency. Okay. Confirm if you can see my slide. Okay, this.
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
Thanks so much. So this, before we get into the capacity assessment, I just wanted to show some familiar faces, some in this room and maybe some of your colleagues. This is the training on the NDC tracking workshop that took place in Panama City last year, last September or October. And as you can see, we even had some very young participants in the room. Some future transparency experts. They're on the right. So we hope to see you again this year at our in-person workshop. Okay, let me get into the capacity assessment. So as Fatima Zada mentioned, the capacity assessment for this year, at the start of this year, was done to re-engage countries in understanding and assessing the status of each of your countries' transparency systems, some of the priorities that you have this year, and what are some of the specific support needs that you have this year for your various reporting mechanisms under the UNFCCC, and particularly for Paris Agreement reporting under the ETF, and for seeking specific priorities for the preparation of your BTRs this year, considering that it's a crucial year for all countries. So this was done to update the capacity assessment that was initially done at the start of 2023, and it's generated some insights on what are some of the specific support needs and priorities tailored towards your BTR development plans this year. And it was also the basis for the development of the annual work plan, which we'll take a look at later on in this meeting. So in summary, to take an overview of the overall status of transparency systems in the English-speaking Caribbean. This was done based on the number of countries who have reported on different transparency reports, so including national communications, submission of biennial update reports, adaptation communications, and for those countries were applicable for the technical annex for their RED Plus programs. This also took a look at the availability of available staff for putting together these transparency reporting reports, as well as availability and technical capacity in all of the different reporting areas, such as greenhouse gas inventories, adaptation, reporting on support needs and receive. And so it gave a total score of overall status of where countries rank themselves in terms of advanced, good, fair, or poor, in terms of their overall transparency systems in this region. So we had some countries who were ranked as good. Antigua and Barbuda, for example, were ranked as good, with having more experience in greenhouse gas inventories and ability to report. And then the majority of countries fell into the fair category. So Belize, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and other countries who need a little bit more support in bringing up the level of their ability to support their transparency system. So Dominica, Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname. And so as time goes by and capacity is built, we will keep updating and checking in on these status. That's this. And another important thing that we looked at this year is where countries were in their preparation process of their BTR. So this chart was developed in combination from the capacity assessment survey, as well as bilateral consultations with countries. So we have good news that quite a few countries have started or initiated the process to start a BTR project. So countries whose BTR projects have started include Antigua and Barbuda, Belize, St. Lucia, those in the process of having their project submitted, Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, and those who are in the early stages of getting their BTR project started with their project approved, include the Bahamas, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and other countries who their funds have not been requested as yet for a BTR project, or they have considered using other means, such as our colleagues from Guyana. So those are Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and Suriname. And as we go along this year, we expect this chart to change and the numbers to move around. But I think in general, it's a positive sign that countries in this region have started the process. I thank you. I see some comments in the chat on. Okay. Thanks for joining, Keisha. On the other results from the needs assessment, we asked countries what on their familiarity with ETF and BTR provisions, and so this is a snapshot where it looks like most countries, those who responded, are familiar with more or less familiar with ETF and BTR provisions, what it entails. And some are very familiar, few are very familiar, and few are not very familiar. So, and it's also taking a look at what are some of the specific technical capacities in the ETF reporting areas that drive the level of familiarity. So this includes greenhouse gas inventory, NDC tracking, adaptation reporting, loss and damage, support needs and receive. And where we see the yellow bar, it seems that most countries have some will have some support requirements in all areas. And for example, few countries have advanced capacity in greenhouse gas inventories where they wouldn't be needing support. And likewise for NDC tracking. And then we have some in areas such as loss and damage and support needs and receive, where there's currently very limited technical capacity in those areas. So this has fed into the priority development for this year's work plan. And taking a deeper look into some of the priority support needs for the ETF. This, I won't go too much into detail. I will share this presentation after the meeting as well. But essentially, it's noting that priority needs that were identified by countries during this round and the previous round of capacity needs assessment include essentially all of the reporting areas under the ETF. So capacity building and development of national inventory reports, also from sector specific emission projections and mitigation assessments, NDC tracking, which is considered quite new for the majority of countries, identification of indicators and NDC implementation, general capacity required for adaptation reporting and institutional strengthening. The same for loss and damage, including tools and methods for assessing loss and damage. And for support needed and received, assessments and tracking support needed and received, and tools to support these needs. And all things regarding MRV systems and data systems, and bolstering data systems and MRV systems for continuous reporting and robust data. And then, of course, most newly, what are the new reporting tables for reporting on countries' biennial transparency reports, and the differences, discerning the differences between previous reporting from BURs to BTRs. And this is, I see some notes in the chat, and I'll open up the floor shortly. So just bear with me as I get through these last couple slides. But just to tie it all in, when asked what are the 3 most pressing transparency support needs for this year, particularly for focusing on BTR reporting and priorities for this year and the following year, countries indicated that greenhouse gas inventory and NDC tracking are one of the main priorities, considering that it is it's a mandatory requirement under reporting need for the BTR, as well as reporting on support received and support needs, as well as overall capacity building and technical assistance with reporting on their BTRs this year. So this has shown that there's indeed very much importance of having accurate emissions and for tracking and monitoring progress towards NDC. And there's a widespread need for training in all areas of data collection, analysis, and presentation of results. So this has definitely influenced the work plan this year. And lastly, just on the capacity needs portion of today's session, although countries do have indicated that they have some familiarity with the ETF, there is still significant support needed to build the institutional and technical capacities to understand the differences and the ETF requirements to report through their BTR documents. And it's positive that 9 out of 13 countries have BTR plans underway, and through discussions with countries, there is some preoccupation that BTR reports may not be submitted on time by December 31st of 2024. Or it will present a lot of challenges, but that it is something that is some countries are indeed trying to meet this deadline. And in summary, the main challenges of the region, and this is not uncommon, not unknown to most of you, that there are limited technical capacities in ETF reporting areas, including greenhouse gas inventories and NDC tracking. There's a lack of human resources or manpower to coordinate these technical areas and reports, and lack of MRV systems and data collection and monitoring flows to report consistently on the information that's required. And of course, limited resources for implementation and challenges in implementation. I will take a pause here and seek any questions, any comments on the capacity needs assessment that has been done this year. I see that we have a couple questions already in the chat. I will start there, and then I'll open it up to any others. So please feel free to include your questions in the chat or also raise your hands. So to Ms. Deidre, please go ahead.
Thank you, and good morning, Megan. Good morning, Fatima, and all the other colleagues on the call. I hope you're hearing me clearly. I had put the question in the chat because I missed it. My internet is not the best here, unfortunately. But you had indicated that there were 4 Caribbean countries that have not yet requested BTR funds. So I was just wondering if there was a general reason why, or if each of the countries have more specific reasons as to why the funds have not yet been requested. That's the first question. And the second, if you will indulge me, the capacity constraints in the Caribbean region are indeed well known. And I just wondered if the assessment had drilled down into any specific reason why. Is it unique to the ministry with responsibility for the Paris Agreement for Climate Mitigation, or is it something else that you might have been able to assess? And thank you very much for the response.
You are muted, Brittany.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your question, Deidre. I will address your first question on the reasons countries may not have requested a BTR projects. So, for the 4 countries, maybe I'll take it back to the slide. Through consultation, it's anticipated that most of these countries will seek out funding for BTR projects, but haven't done so as yet. For the specific example of Guyana, through consultation, have indicated that they may be seeking to start their work on their BTR before requesting JEF funding for under a BTR project through other initiatives that they have within their climate change division. And other countries, I believe, are in consultation with their country implementing partners to start the process or in the initial process. So this chart is also indicative of specifically what the JEF has received in terms of project implementation plan submission and approval. So some of them are not reflected already in on websites already, but this is from bilateral consultations as well with countries and knowing at the stages that they're in. So unless other countries in the room have or those here would like to share additional reasons, you're welcome to do so. That's more or less the idea, that they're in the initial phases but have not yet got to the step of starting that formal process of developing a project. And as for your second question on the believers is some of the main challenges, the technical challenges and limitations in the region. Indeed, it's not, yeah, it's very well understood that technical capacity continues to be a challenge in the region. It's usually linked to a variety of reasons. One being the major one being a very small staffed, small limited human resources to implement, such large projects. Countries as small as St. Vincent and the Grenadines has a climate change division that is expected to execute a project that other countries like Brazil or other larger developing countries who have more certainly more staff and more technical capacity at their disposal to do so. And usually also running these same persons are running or operating various other projects. So often it takes time away from building on technical capacities. And certainly, turnover, is also an issue. But I mean, I must say from just my brief experience in the region over the past 5 years, I can see that there's growth in technical capacity, but sometimes it's not available, or these persons are not available consistently from from BTR to BTR or from national communication to national communication. So often there's this break in technical capacity that's available to the country that often causes a bit of a delay when when starting another project, another greenhouse gas inventory. So that's the short answer to the question, but obviously there are various other limitations that are linked to it, but those would be the most frequent. Thanks so much for the question. Anyone else in the room perhaps have other questions or other takes on the capacity needs assessment, or comments on their BTR plans, or hesitation. So this might be a good time to share that. I'm also noting that this is your meeting, so it's might be a good opportunity to speak between countries here. It's quite a small meeting, so I encourage you, and please, hope you do feel free to speak openly. No problem. We will then take a quick break just to make sure that I know that everyone is in the room. No, I'm just kidding. But I would like to invite all of you then, if you could, before we get into discussions on the work plan for this year, if you could kindly turn on your cameras, if you could, if you're able to, so that we can take a short photo, a short attendance list, group photo for this year's annual. Morgan, nice to see you. So all are very kind, and it's not always easy to turn on your camera.
And very nice to see some familiar faces. So it's been since October last year, so really nice to see you guys.
This is good turnout. This is getting to 90% of all cameras on, so I really appreciate it. Okay, I took a photo. 1, 2, 3. Thanks so much, everyone. Really nice to see you all. Feel free to keep your cameras on if you like. There's no way to say what you can. So then I know we have about 30 minutes left formally in this meeting. So let me get right into the network work plan. So Fatima Zada gave a great introduction to the process for the work plan development this year and for the capacity needs assessment. So based on the capacity needs assessment and the bilateral meetings that we've had with almost all of you, we've taken your considerations, the key findings that you've identified, the priorities that you determined for your own countries. And we put together a work plan for this year that is a combination of both regional activities and as well as country-specific activities that could be implemented based on your specific stage that you are in your transparency needs. So this work plan envisages only those activities which are planned for 2024. And just to reiterate that what Fatima Zada mentioned earlier, that additional activities certainly can be added based on ad hoc requests from countries and certainly based on discussions that come out today. So, as you look through the work plan, I encourage you to take a look at activities where you may note that you have some cohesion with one of your own national activities or opportunities where you'd like to join forces with another country or two to bolster an activity. So those are also things that we can certainly do. Just to verify, is the screen wide enough for everyone to see clearly? Yes. Okay, got a thumbs up. So just taking a look at the regional activities, we have our network kickoff meeting, which is being done today. We had our BTR preparation series webinar, the first of the series on planning and developing countries' first BTR. So that was done earlier this month, which some of you have joined. And for other regional activities, we have other BTR preparation series webinars planned. So the idea is to have a series of webinars this year focused on BTR preparation. So giving some of the guidance within the confines of a webinar, of course. And then also giving an opportunity to countries who can give their country experience and share good practices in actually developing on that topic. So we had earlier this month with Antigua and Barbuda giving their experience on their institutional arrangements, and coming later in the early parts of quarter two, we'll be looking to have one on NBC tracking. And other regional events this year, the training workshop on the preparation of greenhouse gas inventories under the ETF. So this would be an in-person meeting in Bogota, Colombia. So that would be in July, and then within that meeting space, we'll also take the opportunity to have a in-person annual meeting, network meeting for this region, for the Caribbean region. So that would be in July, and then later on in the year, in the third quarter, we will continue with other webinar series for network exchange and good practices in support needed and received, another area under BTRs. And also we'll have a series of webinars on reporting on adaptation later in this year. So that is looking like October and end of September to October. And as we go along, please note your questions or note the activities, but we can bounce back between these slides. And then now taking a look at specific country activities. So these activities that are on this work plan were developed and put on this work plan through consultation directly with countries through consultations this year. So Belize has requested support for the development of their BTR roadmap. So that is in the planning stages. And also Belize will have a hands-on training on greenhouse gas inventory preparation and IPCC guidelines, also focusing on the agriculture, waste, and IPCC sectors. So that's also in planning for April. And we have a few countries that have sought support in assessing and making recommendations on their institutional arrangements. So these activities are being planned in Grenada, starting in Grenada. So in Q2, and also with Dominica, planning, training, and capacity building on data collection and management systems. So a little bit extension from institutional arrangements, but focusing more on data collection specifically and management systems to get their projects team ready for when their BTR project starts later this year. We also have some opportunities for peer exchanges. So what this means is that we are encouraging countries who have similar or actually quite differing exchanges. So perhaps a country that has a lot of capacity in one area and another that is seeking to gain some capacity, to have these peer exchanges on specific topics. So countries that purchase the data collections and data systems may support other countries who have more needs in this area. So this says countries to be determined, but we wanted to ensure that we put space in the work plan to have countries collaborate on certain topics. And these are suggestions based on the availability of expertise and as well as the priorities that were shared, but they can definitely be adjusted. And there's also a hands-on LEAP training that is being planned in Suriname for the Q3 of this year. So we will have experts on LEAP training and mitigation modeling that will be supporting Suriname in training later this year. And then other hands-on support activities for Antigua and Barbuda on NDC tracking, CTF tables, including the identification of NDC indicators. So that is estimated towards the Q3 of this year as well. And Antigua and Barbuda has also requested capacity building support on support needed and received. So specific for them, although there will be webinars and regional activities on this area as well. And then lastly, another opportunity for peer exchange. We have here potential options being adaptation, which was identified as a priority for various countries, but other countries also are interested in Article 6 and carbon market. So that may be a potential area for a specific peer exchange program. And then for all countries, having peer reviews of your national communications or your BTR chapters. It could be a specific chapter, it could be a section. And so this could be done as requested. And so this can be done throughout and quite ad hoc. So countries have already potentially indicated that they might request this support. And so this support is certainly available to all countries in the network. And just to give take a look at some of the other knowledge products and materials available, apart from the specific work, regional and country-specific activities, some of the different knowledge products and materials that will be available. So best practice briefs that were mentioned earlier in this meeting on institutional arrangements, data management, and various others. And then very soon in May, knowledge products and guidance on NDC tracking tables and adaptation reporting. So that should, these products should support as countries are undertaking the technical parts of their BTR projects this year. And then just as a reminder, some of the regional network exchange activities, we have the Global Transparency Forum in Tokyo, Japan, this in May, coming up very soon, and some of you will be participating. And then for the wider specific regional events, our annual network meeting and GHD inventory training in July in Bogota, Colombia. And all of this information will continue to be updated and included on the climate transparency platforms. We also have the space to communicate with each other within the communities of practice and through different network forums for users, for all transparency users. So not just within the Anglophone Caribbean network, but you'll be able to connect with other transparency practitioners and experts across the globe. But I will take a pause here. I think I've taken a lot of time speaking in this meeting, but I would really like to hear from you all on your feedback on the work plan, looking at the regional activities, looking at the country-specific activities. Are there any areas for joint work? Looking at the anticipated timelines, is there something that you would like to see at an earlier stage or a later stage, for example, as you're planning this year, your BTR projects, something that makes more sense as you're planning your BTR projects? Where would you like the support in terms of timelines? And of course, if there's any gaps, something that's missing, something that you'd like to suggest for your own country, or join forces with, potentially join forces with another. The floor is open. Nothing. That means we're good to go. And there's
maybe we can see the colleagues country by country, just to see what they think about the activities planned for them at the national level. And then also maybe just to mention if they have some experience that they would like to share with others, and maybe what are some other experiences that they would like to hear about. So maybe we can go country by country with the colleagues present here, if that's okay.
Thanks so much for that suggestion, Fatmazal. I think that's a great suggestion. So, countries, colleagues, is there anyone from Belize? Yes, I see someone from Belize. If you'd be able to give feedback or give any feedback on the activities planned, and if there's anything that you think that from your country experience that you'd be able to share.
Hi, yes, Camilo Salazar here from Belize. Hey everyone, nice to see the familiar faces as well. Yes, so well, we've been in discussion with Brittany on how we can get support from Civic GSP. So the work plan aligns here with what we've discussed, the support for development of a roadmap towards BTR. We've done one before, but that was early last year actually. So since then we've had some development. So we thought it would be good to do an updated roadmap, considering where we are and see what the timeline would be in terms of getting our BTR completed. As well as for the hands-on training, was actually a request from us as we're starting to produce our BTR. We know it includes the GHG inventory, and we have several new people working in the sectors that will be taking on this activity for the first time. So we thought it would be good to have a training on the GHG inventory to give them an introduction on the entire process itself. It's especially because some of them are really new when it comes to the climate change reporting on a whole, and we're just trying to centralize where that takes place. The reason for this is because some of that reporting was done before with some NGOs, but now the responsibility is being taken 100% by government now. So it's just to get that hands-on training for them so that we can take off with the GHG inventory portion of the BTR and try to get that completed before December of this year. And then the peer review, that was something else that we discussed. I think it would be good to see, once we have that completed, to do a review to see how well we did. And then also give the people involved, our data providers, our sector leads involved, an idea of the quality of the work that we produce and where we can make improvements. So yeah, for now, I'd say everything aligns with what we've been discussing, and I can't wait for us to start implementing some of these activities. Thank you.
So much, Camille, for your feedback. Yeah, I think it's definitely similar that many countries have new staff, new personnel working on different technical areas. So having trainings at different levels, at introductory levels, specific levels, based on their needs. We're happy to support. Benita, anyone from Benita? I don't think so, actually. Maybe. Probably Mr. Pipus was unable to mention that he would be unable to join today. But how about Dominica? Mr. Hunter is not here right now. He was earlier, but these activities with Brittany, there are at least those who are on this listed here for country activities. We've had recent discussion, so training on data collection and management systems is something planned for towards the end of April. How about Antigua? Okay, see Fatima Zara, maybe remember.
Yeah, just to mention that for Suriname, we have this training on leap modeling, and this can be used to do scenarios and projections, including for the NDCs. So it's useful basically for both processes, the NDCs and the BTR. So we are doing this leap training for Suriname towards the end of June. So I'm asking if there are any other countries that might be interested by a leap training. So there would be a possibility to combine missions. So we have the same experts going for 2 weeks in the Caribbean and doing training for 2 countries. So if you have that need, please do let us know, especially Brittany, and then we can try to organize that for you in conjunction with the Suriname training.
Thanks. That's excellent point, Fatima Zara. Yeah, we'd like to make use of our experts being in the Caribbean region to have a short tour where possible, where logistically possible. But that's certainly an option. Okay, I see two comments. I see one from Annika, and then I will get to you, Mr. Arthur. So Annika, what's the timeline to give feedback for this? And
yeah, I think in the next couple of weeks, if you are able to get to us with that, so that we are able to organize it in advance.
Excellent. Thanks so much. And feedback for the league training. Okay. Yeah, the next couple of weeks would be fantastic. Arthur, please go ahead. Arthur, I'm not sure if your mic is off, but you could.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
There we go.
Thanks, Brittany. I was just about to tell Fatima that her legs are short, because if she had waited, then she would have been able to come to the Bahamas, because we have just finished our lead training on what today is the 26th. We finished it on the 21st. We had a 4-day session in the Bahamas, 18th to the 21st, and it was well attended, and we got quite a number, or at least we believe we have quite a number of professionals now who would be able to conduct lead training in the future. But we still will invite you, Fatima, in another case, whenever we have another event, make certain you send your team down.
Yeah, I mean, we are here for you. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to enjoy Bahamas in this case. I'm not a leap expert, unfortunately. I need to get trained myself. But yeah, we are here if you need another training, or maybe go deeper into some areas of the leap modeling, then please do let us know, and we would see how that can be complemented.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very good.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Arthur and Fatima. I think it's a very good point to make, that what is here, it could be on any level that your country may, or capacity could be provided on the level that specific to your country. So if there is a need that maybe you need further support on a particular sector, or going deeper into leap training, for example, as the example given, is something that could be arranged. Okay. We have anyone else from the other countries listed here who may have any remarks or any comments? Anyone from Antigua is here? Okay, we had a colleague from Antigua who may have just stepped out, but um, I can. There were quite a bit of support um, priorities prioritized in the areas of NDC tracking, and use the particular tables that were used. So this could be most countries or most participants, or quite a few here, participated in the regional workshop last year. But of course, one regional workshop does not necessarily get everyone trained to the level that they need to. So if there's always a support available for additional training on NDC tracking and utilization of those tables. Fatima, please go ahead. I see your hand is up.
Yeah, no, just to mention that for the colleagues that were with us last year in Panama, there was quite some interest in this mutual learning program, where we had discussed the possibility of, for instance, having a couple of countries working together on some CTF tables, for instance, like having a couple of tables in or some working on the tables for some of their mitigation action, and doing that together with an expert from the team, from the CBJSP team, who would be supporting this exercise. So that offer is still there if you guys are still interested. So that can be arranged if countries are working on similar sectors and have kind of more or less similar timelines with the BTR preparation, or at least the NDC tracking component of their BTR. So that can still be arranged if you still have that interest and would like to participate in such an exercise.
Thanks so much, Fatima, for that reminder. Yeah, so these country activities can.
I remember Tanika was interested. I don't know whether she's still here. Yes, Tanika is still here. So that could be, and I think also the colleague from Onika as well. Yes, I see you. Both of you were interested, so it's the opportunity to to make that happen today or in the next few weeks in coordination with Brittany.
Definitely. There's definitely still time. I know some of you may still be digesting the work plan. This work plan is not set in stone. If your country is not here, that does not mean that there's no opportunity to have support specific country activities for your country this year. Yes, definitely within the next couple weeks, especially. We'd like to continue engaging and ensuring that if there is a particular opportunity or area that you'd like to have a country activity or a peer exchange on any of these areas, we can have that arranged. We have a couple of pairings that could potentially work, but of course it all depends on the specific timings of each of your countries. I think I may just ask once more if there's any last questions or comments on any of the regional activities or the country specific activities. Don't worry, after this workshop, after this meeting, I will reach out especially to those countries who who may not have a country activity planned. We can make some recommendations, but certainly feel free to make the recommendations yourselves. Yeah, the support could be tailored specifically to your needs and at the level that you're at. I had just one more question that I don't think I picked up. I had a hand up from Indira. I don't know if you still have your question. Sorry, I missed you earlier. Okay, then. Well, then in that case, I would like to thank you everyone for for staying, keen and staying with us as we go through the work plan. Following this meeting, we will share this work plan, share the slides and presentations, and engage with you all, especially those who have sought interests in a particular country activity or grouping, to see if there's anything else that could be arranged within the next few weeks. And also, of course, you're welcome to make any additional suggestions on the work plan yourself. So please feel free to reach out to me. It's always open. So even if it's after the few weeks and something comes up, that's also something that we can work with as the year goes by and your priorities may shift as your project plans shift. Okay. And then as we come to the end, I wanted to invite everyone then to take a couple minutes to do a short survey for us at menti.com. So you can scan the QR code or you can go to www.menti.com and enter the code that's on the screen. And I will also send a link that will take you there directly. The link is also in the chat for you to access Menti. Give me a heart if you are in Menti. I see only one person. So it will just take a couple minutes and then I'll close the meeting. Okay. Good. So have you participated in any activities in the Civic GSP Transparency Network in 2023? Okay, so a few of you have participated in a few activities, up to 3, and some not yet. All right, it's a new year. We have more activities planned. And so if yes, have you used the knowledge and skills acquired for your work? So maybe if you work in transparency in your BTRs or national communications, some to a great extent, and to some, that's positive. I hope that this grows as we target our support to your specific needs this year. This is positive so far. And do you have any suggestions for the upcoming activities in the Transparency Network for 2024? So some have said the indicated work plan looks good. Support to mobilize resources for implementation. Partner matching. Okay, so that's an excellent suggestion. Thanks for that. I didn't mention in detail, but Fatima Zada did that. We do have quite a few collaborations planned this year, so definitely something that we can do also to aid on your side. Reminder emails about upcoming events or request support throughout the year. I can definitely do that. Just be careful what you ask for with reminders, but I can be very good with reminders. But thank you for that. Well taken. Support on capacity building, support on additional trainings for BTRs and CTF tables. Okay. So well noted. So some especially for regarding BTR related capacity, especially in the crucial year, and support to mobilize resources and for implementation and partner matching. We can definitely do that. Currently, we're the training that's planned in Belize, for example, is in collaboration with ICAT. So and then we have a few more webinars in collaboration with other organizations, the other UNEP offices, and also the RCC Caribbean. So we can definitely support their adaptation training. Okay, so we definitely will have some additional resources and webinars planned in adaptation this year. Thanks so much for that. Okay, have you ever interacted with the climate transparency platform? Yes. Some indicated no earlier. Included in those reminders, I can also share reminders to register to the climate transparency platform and how to get started and make use of it. It's also the host and the one-stop shop for transparency. So it has all of the best practice guidance. It will have all the knowledge products, and as well will be the place where we upload all of the presentations and meeting recordings and information. So hopefully that it will be useful to you in at least one of those ways. Okay. So how useful do you find the climate transparency platform? Checking out events, registering yourself. Some find it quite very useful, others moderately useful. Okay. And for those who haven't used it yet, may not have a response, but personally I found it quite useful for keeping track of events and also following different forum exchanges with other networks and other experts around the world that have similar challenges. Okay, we're coming to the end. So thanks so much for your feedback. I really appreciate your feedback on the work plan as well as on the way we deliver our support and our meetings and webinars. So thank you so much for your time. We are right at the end of our meeting, but I wanted to, yes, say thanks again for meeting with us. Second time in the month, I know is a lot, but we do appreciate it, and we take every opportunity to share this space with you very seriously as we work towards improving and building the capacity in these transparency areas in the region. So we're at your disposal, and me personally as your network coordinator for the Civic GSP Transparency Network for the Caribbean region. I will follow this meeting with the summary of some of the key outcomes of the meeting, and also share with you the work plan and the presentations that were delivered today. And by your request, send you reminders for your support requests. So thank you everyone for your time, and wishing you a great day. Talk to you soon.
Maybe just to mention before we go, so I have seen in one of the slides that in the Menti that some people were asking for adaptation training. So just to mention that we will have this BTR webinar series, virtual workshop basically on on adaptation reporting. So please make sure to tune in. So I think Brittany can communicate the dates rather soon to you. And also, I think what is important is also that you also feel this is your network and we are here to work as a team. So please do engage with us, respond to Brittany's reminders. She will be harassing you, but please do engage with her, because that's the only way where we can basically understand what you need and respond to it in the best way possible. And maybe Brittany, if you can tell us what is the next activity that is planned for the network, so that the colleagues can keep that in mind. And all information is, of course, in the climate transparency platform, but could be probably helpful to just take a mental note of the next activity.
Thanks so much, Fatima. Yes. So the next activity that we have in the network will be another webinar in the BTR preparation series. So that is planned for the month of May. There are some other webinars from other regional organizations and from the UNFCCC that's planned within the next couple of months. So we have our next webinar planned for May. So we'll give some time between all of the other planned regional webinars. And the next one will be on NDC tracking and support in May.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. We look forward to having more work with you in the Caribbean and in supporting your efforts in transparency. And we wish you, of course, all the best in your endeavors. So thank you very much, colleagues, for being with us today.
Bye. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Good.
Bye-bye.
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 Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Goodbye.